then she'll give us the heads up that we are broadcasting live for the world to see.
Oh, wonderful.
I know it's like the worst thing is two guys like me and you going live on YouTube.
Right.
Tragedy is bound to happen.
Sure.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Daily Fix. I am super pumped today to have my good friend Scott Malden here of our affiliate down at the Federal Air Marshal Service over in the great city of Atlantic City. How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you doing?
Man, I'm pumped. It's Friday. Got a good workout in this morning, and I'm the newest assistant Pee Wee football coach in Portsmouth, Ohio. I don't know if you read that on ESPN or not.
I haven't checked the Ocho yet, but I'll do that. I'll do that my first chance I get.
So we got a big game on Saturday. So we're taking my my third and fourth graders, and we're going on the road up to Northwest Scioto County to take on the mighty Northwest Mohawks. So drama and tension's high in the household. So we're trying.
They're
to
in
get
good hands, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm trying. My son's just not into me like making him watch old NFL films of like Dick Butkus and all the old school guys. But we'll get there. We'll get there one of these days.
Sounds good.
Yeah, man. So for everybody listening at home. So what we do is this show is just kind of all about dedicated to providing MetFix affiliate updates and more importantly, highlighting those in the community. And that's why Scott's here. He runs he's been a fantastic member of the community, doing a lot on the law enforcement side. And we'll get into all that on his background. But we just want to take the next hour and highlight what Scott's doing and give you guys a quick update on what we're doing on the affiliation side for MetFix. The biggest thing right now is we're gearing up for an affiliate get-together. We're calling it a Ruck and Learn, and that'll be at Go Ruck headquarters in beautiful and sunny Jacksonville, Florida. That'll be on Friday, the 24th of October. So the cool thing about that is it's a free event. It's a free event, number one. And then number two, it's for everybody. So whether you're a trainer, a gym owner, or MetFix, CrossFit, whatever, it doesn't matter to us. We just want you to kind of come down and hang and spend the evening with us down in Jacksonville. And then the cool part is what we'll do is we'll get folks together. We've got a couple guest speakers lined up for you guys, and it's going to be probably 3 hours long. And the way it's going to work is we'll get everybody there, and then we'll do a ruck on the beach, and that'll be the first thing. And that'll we'll kind of let the academy and some folks from Go Ruck lead that, and it'll just be a cool opportunity for everybody to kind of get together and get to know each other. And then after the ruck is done, then we're gonna head inside to the HQ building, and we're gonna have some academy folks kind of just have a general, like, what does MetFix talk? Because that's the big priority right now is we just want to be able to get on the road and just, kind of let everybody know what we're about. Right. And then give you guys an opportunity to ask some questions, learn some more. And then Richard Rice from GoRuck, a kind of a legendary special forces operator, will be there, and he'll be doing a little quick 20-minute talk on leadership. And then after that, we're going to just hang out. And then the cool part is the next weekend or the next Saturday and Sunday, we've got a foundations course going on at MetFix Jacksonville. So it's a good opportunity to go to that, or just come down for the Friday event and hang out from there. So we're pumped to get that going. So that's the latest and greatest on that. And so without further ado, my good friend Scott Malden here. He works down the training department for the Federal Air Marshals, and like I said, Atlantic City, and he runs our affiliate there. So Scott, once again, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So I want to go back to the beginning, man. So what was your first job in law enforcement back in the day?
Back in the day, I started with a local police department just outside of Charlotte called Concord, North Carolina, where the Charlotte Motor Speedway is. I was there for about just a little over 3 years and had a ball. I would probably done it for free, and that's about what they paid us back then. Um,
So is
uh,
this like late '90s, early 2000s?
wow, Dale, that's hurt. Yeah, it actually was. Yeah, around the 96.
Okay.
Gosh, 96.
Yeah, man. So
Um,
was that your first job out of college?
no, I had a couple little things. I got into martial arts pretty heavy, so I was always teaching martial arts, and then got into firearms, and I was teaching. I was actually a firearms instructor and a martial arts instructor before someone told me I could get paid for both my hobbies and then drive fast too. So it all culminated in one fatal swoop of a conversation with a friend of mine, and
Nice.
I was all from there.
Nice. So you went to the, is it a local academy or is it a state ran academy? How's that work in North Carolina?
In North Carolina, usually they're either run, the bigger departments like Charlotte Mecklenburg has their own facility and their own training academy. But most locals go through like a community college that's certified through the state.
Yeah. Awesome. So you're on the job. We're like just a patrol officer. How's it like? What's the?
Yeah, and Concord was a patrol officer. Got to have a phenomenal training officer, Dexter Barlow. He's retired now, living the dream. He was phenomenal, very instrumental in kind of teaching me things that I still use to this day. We were together. He and I at the time was a small department. We were the high risk warrant unit. He had a photogenic memory and remember guys, and then he just send me off to run after them.
Yeah.
So that was probably within the first week. I understood the necessity of physical fitness in police work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a good point. So back in those days, so we're clearly dating ourselves here.
I
But
had to shave, so I looked better than that picture. So
and that's all Connor's fault, by the way.
I,
There's no way I gave him extra money to make me look younger and you older. Um, but kind of back in that late '90s, early 2000s, like what was your fitness regimen like then?
actually, like I said, I was doing martial arts all the time. I'd always been into things that involved physical fitness, but never really concentrated on it. I got a little bit deeper because just like probably every other, male at 20 years old wanted to be a Navy SEAL, right? So I was, running 5, 6, 7 miles a day and doing other things just to prepare me for that. Actually, I was going to apply if I was going to enlist if I didn't get the job with the police department. So that's kind of how it went there. But we were just basically doing a lot of running, and that's that's predominantly at the time. I mean, a run-based fitness program for law enforcement was pretty much the way.
Yeah.
So that was just all I knew to try to do.
And do you remember was there had to be some sort of physical fitness qualification at the academy? Do you remember what that was?
Oh, and North Carolina was a POPAT. I don't exactly remember the acronym right now, but it was basically it's like a sprint, and then you jump over a fence, climb through, stuff, kick a door open with a certain pound resistance on it, drag a dummy, very job specific
Yeah,
things.
yeah, that's surprising. Yeah,
And that was way back then, and you had to do it under a certain amount of time, right? Ironically, right? Kind
yeah,
of cool. So yeah, there was, and then you got graded based off of that. And I don't believe it was pass fail at the time. I think you got like extra kudos for doing at a certain time versus just barely making it.
yeah, yeah. So we spent a couple years as a patrolman, and then you're kind of getting froggy, and then you're wanting to jump somewhere else, huh?
Not so much that, Dale, but I just sold out for the money and went federal to be, one of my good friends, Scott Bryson, we worked together at the police department, and he got hired with Secret Service as an agent.
Yeah,
And he came back, and we talked after he had been on for maybe a year or so, and he's like, "Dude, you're gonna love this. Like, you need to do this." And so I started reading more about it. Of course, everyone knows, generally speaking, what the Secret Service does. And then I got full send on it. I was super excited about it. It took at the time, it took about 11 months to get hired on with Secret Service, between the background investigation that went back to birth,
Yeah.
the polygraph test that was miserable. So it was an interesting application process. But yeah, I did end up getting hired, and went through their training in '99.
Now you know. Okay, so this is pre 9/11.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you were an agent pre 9/11. That's it. That's so. What can you kind of walk me through? The overall kind of drastic. I mean, it may not have been drastic. I'm not for sure, but what changes did you kind of see and witness? Pre 9/11, post 9/11.
J- well, for me, I was actually I was in the Philadelphia field office, and we were always going to New York for the UN. So um, I was actually supposed to be in Building 7 on September 11th,
Oh,
helping with operations for the UN General Assembly. And at the last minute, they sent a group of us down to Sarasota. So I was at the airport while Bush was at the school. So
oh,
that was.
you were in that kind of iconic when the guy comes over and whispers into Bush's ear. You were there.
I was at the airport, yeah,
Okay.
working
Okay.
security room. Scary thing at the time, from the guys that went from our office, I was the senior guy at the time, so working security room. So I got a lot of information going through just little old me that I was ill prepared for at the time. A lot of things I didn't know, assets the Secret Service had at the
Sure.
time, that I discovered really, really quickly. So yeah, it was. I remember like it was yesterday, like most people.
So you're and I'm going to ask questions, and obviously you just tell me what you can.
Sure.
So you're on that bird when he's circling, like that's
We were no, we were in the security room at the airport. So basically, the information was coming to us that was going on in DC. A lot of rumors, a lot of inaccurate information was coming out, but my job was to pass that on to the detail that was with
okay.
Bush at the time, and then they had to get back to the airport, and then obviously get off on Air Force One.
Gotcha. So you're kind of coordinating that flow of communication and information to the agents on the ground.
As best I could as a 28-year-old in over his head at the time. Yes,
Man, welcome to the Secret Service, I guess, huh?
absolutely. I mean, I had been on for a couple years at that point, but
Sure.
that changed everything.
So when after that happens, and the president is back on Air Force One, so you're still down, kind of monitoring comms down at the airport.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
gotcha. So 9/11 happens, obviously, and what was there an increase in op tempo for you guys after that, or how's that look? How's that feel? How's that work?
Everything obviously went through the roof, just like with everywhere.
Sure.
My level was still in the field office, so as far as a lot of that operational stuff, I wasn't privy to. But in the field office, it changed kind of everything. Instead of us doing our normal rota, where we go out on the road and assist with protection, and then when you're not on rotation, you're in the office working on your cases. Whether it be counterfeit, financial crimes. I worked in protective intelligence, so going out interviewing people that make threats. Um, but we were doing things like 3-week, 12-hour rotations, doing surveillance in Georgetown. I mean, it was brutal, what
Wow.
we were doing.
Does it kind of quickly become other duties assigned?
One, yes, yeah, it was not what I was. I mean, a 12-hour shift in a 4-block radius, for 3 weeks in a row. It was rough. It was definitely mentally challenging. So luckily, a spot came open at the academy. So I put in for to get a training spot over at the academy in Beltsville, Maryland.
Wow. And that academy is specific to Secret Service.
It is. It's an add-on. It's an add-on course to after FLETC that most federal agencies have to go through.
Yeah. So now that we're kind of there and we're dovetailing your story, I kind of like for just folks who are just generally interested, can we talk about the pipeline of, because I know I'm dumb enough to, make myself sound dangerous when it comes to it, but on the federal law enforcement side, you meet the requirements, you put in the paperwork, you get selected for whatever agency, but everybody's got to go through FLETC first, right? Is that correct?
So there's a handful of agencies that don't.
Okay.
I'd really hate to say, I know the Bureau is one of them. I hate to go down the list and be
Sure.
inaccurate with some of them, but most federal agencies do go through either criminal investigator training program or uniformed officer training program, which is like BLET on the state level for the federal officers.
Yeah. So it's like basic law enforcement training, essentially.
Basic law enforcement training for the federal. Yeah, those are in, the federal law enforcement training centers are in, main one's in Glencoe, Brunswick, Georgia, and then you've got one in Artesia, New Mexico, Cheltenham, Maryland, and Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah. And then so they kind of go through that, that basic indoctrination training, and then from there they'll go to their agency specific training.
Yes, and then some of them, I know I'm trying to think, believe the ATF and the U.S. Marshal Service have their add-on training at FLETC in Georgia. So some of them have it there and they run congruently.
Gotcha.
But I know for the Secret Service, theirs is at Beltsville. Their additional protection training and things like the add-on stuff is in Beltsville, Maryland, and ours is here in Atlantic City.
Okay, so then you're getting you're getting your crop of new recruits, or what are they called, or when they get to the schoolhouse?
Here they're called candidates.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And
I know you're at the Air Marshals, but and we'll obviously dig into that. But so, guy shows up, and now you're a training officer at Secret Service. So what's that like?
I was in control tactics, and we handled PT, so we did most physical skills and room entries. So it was interesting because I was 28, I believe, and very opinionated. So,
As most of us are at 28, yeah.
Absolutely. So I got to work with some really, really phenomenal people. Luther Ivory was a phenomenal human. Still keep in contact with him today. He was my boss down there and really my mentor. I got to work with Scotty Devine, who was the first American to go from white to black belt under Helson Gracie.
Oh, wow.
So I got some jiu-jitsu training with those guys, and that really got me kind of on the road to where we are now, to be honest with you. A cool story, I'd say jiu-jitsu. I did jiu-jitsu for years and years and years, and jiu-jitsu got me into what we're doing now. Constantly very high intensity functional movement.
That's great. You heard a lot of stories about it. It kind of goes either way. Like jiu-jitsu is like a pipeline drug for CrossFit for a lot of guys that got into CrossFit back in the day, or like for guys who are already into the CrossFit side of it, they get into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well, I think because the two mindsets are similar, effort earns respect. The similarities are, you might not be and probably aren't going to be the best one on the mat, but everyone's going to respect you if you come in and you go hard. You come in, you go hard, you learn, you're open to coaching, you're not a jerk, But the cool story was, speaking of post 9/11, like we had multiple military groups come through for protection training to go protect Karzai. So that was my introduction. We were, a couple of them wanted to train jiu-jitsu with Scotty Devine, and Scotty looked at me and said, "Hey, I need you to come help me train these SEAL team guys in jiu-jitsu." And I was like, "Man, I'm not that good. Like, these guys are going to crush me." And he said, and I remember like it was yesterday, he said, "You're going to get tired of tapping these guys." Now, again, I'm not trying to offend any Navy SEALs whatsoever, but this was back in 2000, late 2001, early 2002. So we went and trained with these guys, and they were horrible at jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
But they were super nice. Like, you submit them and they'd be, "Cool. What was that? Can you show it to me?" You show it to me, they want to go again. and
Yeah.
then you do something else, and they'd want to see that. And 45 minutes later, I'm like, what do you guys eat? Like, this is unbelievable. Their just engine was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they said this guy came to a Coronado, and this is how we work out. I think his name was Greg Glassman. And so that's kind of where I was like, well, I want to do whatever these cats are doing. And that's kind of where my journey started as far as this realm here.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, we're talking early 2000s on that, huh?
Yeah, it was 02, 03.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that was a crazy time. You know, that reminds me of a saying, a one-eyed man in a room full of blind people looks like a prophet. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
you don't need to know everything. You just got to know more than they know.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. So how long were you at the training academy at Secret Service?
I was there for right at a year.
Okay.
Right at a year. I had a private industry opportunity pulling me out, and then I had some issues with the supervisor there. That again, I was 28 and opinionated. Uh, I, I won the battle but lost the war. That's
Yeah.
probably a good way to say it. But
Yeah.
private industry opportunity to go head up training on a place that was basically going to be a similar to Blackwater.
Yeah.
So I went there. We were going to work with another friend of mine who was a professional competitive shooter, and that just kind of fell through after I got down there. Just wasn't
Yeah.
something that was going to come to fruition. So I jumped back on with a sheriff's department to get a little bit more of that adrenaline out of me. So I
Yeah.
went back to work with the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Department there in near Concord.
Okay. So you're back in North Carolina.
Back in North Carolina, back in uniform. Couple more fights, couple more car chases, and that was enough. Got a call from my boss asking me if I'd be interested in teaching down at FLETC, down in
Okay.
Glencoe, Georgia. So they were going to triple my salary, so I took it again, sold out for the money, and went down for. No, I enjoy teaching,
Sure.
loved it, and when the opportunity came open, I jumped all over it. That was from '04 to '06. I was an instructor at FLETC down in Brunswick, Georgia.
Now, is that a federal gig or is that a contracting gig?
I was a full-time employee with the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center.
Great.
Again in PTD, Physical Techniques Division. So I was back in the fitness arena and martial arts stuff.
And were you able to kind of sneak in the constantly varied high intensity stuff into the protocol, or what was the fitness protocol like at that time?
I believe, and I remember talking with some people. I think I missed Greg speaking there by like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think he was there doing a presentation. So when I got there, they were like setting up buildings for that type of training. So
Yeah.
throw me in the briar patch. I was super excited about it. But I learned from my previous experience, so I tried to keep my mouth shut. Never missed a great opportunity to shut the F up and just kind of observe. You have two ears and one mouth for a reason. So
Yeah.
I kind of
Amen.
sat back and watched and just enjoyed it. Uh, Got to train with some more great dudes down there with jujitsu and PT, and so I had a ball. But yeah, it was definitely in the air and at its infancy stages.
Yeah. So you're just living the dream. You're getting paid to work out, do jujitsu, and then train people to do the same.
Yes, yes, and
Beautiful,
it's
man.
and it's your tax dollars, and I really appreciate it.
You know what? Like stuff like that, I don't mind.
Uh,
I
I've
pay
been
you,
I've been very fortunate. Been very
yeah, pay you
fortunate.
double as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I appreciate it.
For sure, man. Okay, so yeah, so train instructor, Secret Service, train instructor down at FLETC. Then where do we go?
Just again through connections, they kind of joke and say the Secret Service is the law enforcement mafia. Uh,
Yeah,
I've luckily been on the good side of that. So just through connections, um, previous bosses were now supervisors in the Charlotte field office as the Air Marshals was kind of standing itself up, and they had a spot for an instructor there, and said they needed a jack of all trades. The instructors in the field office have to be able to teach legal, legal, medical, tactics, aircraft tactics, hand to hand, PT, nutrition. We have to teach all of it. By that point, I had pretty much every certification, you could get in federal law
Sure.
enforcement. So it was an easy play for me. And being from Charlotte, I jumped all over it. So I went with the Federal Air Marshal Service as an instructor in the field office in '06.
Okay.
So I taught there for 17 years and would come up here to the academy. I had lots of friends up here as an adjunct, so we'd come up for a few weeks at a time, then go back home, come up for a few weeks at a time, go back home.
So and we got to spend a little time with you guys at the training academy in Atlantic City. So can you help me understand the difference between what training's happening at a field office versus the academy side?
Surely. I mean, at the field office is pretty much just local law enforcement guys will understand this. There's a difference between the academy setting and in-service training. In-service training, the Federal Air Marshals is kind of an odd bird. We have a training office or a training division in every field office. Typically speaking, if there's a continuum of doing the thing versus training the thing. Local police and state police and some agencies that are dealing with people every day and handcuffing people every day, they don't need to train as much. They'll still get their training, but as far as on the basic level, I believe in North Carolina, like law enforcement in-service training is 24 hours a year. So on the flip side, if you're not necessarily doing it all the time, like very rarely do air marshals, are they forced to interact and actually activate on the aircraft. So to offset that, we have to train a lot. So in comparison to the 24 hours a year from local law enforcement, our guys train 160 hours a year.
Yeah.
And so in the field office, that training is conducted based pretty much field driven. In the field, we had guys, I don't know if you remember, I hate to even bring it up, but back in the day when a lot of people were ending up in orange jumpsuits on Al Jazeera, to a horrible demise. And, a lot of concern was, hey, we don't want to be kidnapped over in a foreign country and utilized. So we developed break contact drills in the field. So long as we incorporate it back to the core curriculum, like we had a little bit of leeway. Whereas here at the academy, everything has to fall into very, very specific guidelines and very, very specific curriculum to maintain those federal standards, if that makes sense, without going in
Sure.
kind of crazy. So it's a lot more structured here. It's a lot more structured with what you can do and say during the courses that has to be approved. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It totally makes sense. Like, thank God you guys aren't getting a lot of real world experience
I know.
on the
Yeah.
job, right?
There's a lot of stuff that goes on that people don't hear about, but obviously it's not major occurrences, knock on wood.
So, and then you were at that field office for quite a while, it sounds like.
17 years. Yep.
17 years. Wow. That's insane, man. So we're spent some time at the field office and then finally you kind of make your way up to the training academy. And how long ago was that?
Be 2.5 years. No, it'll be 3 years in February. So
Okay.
you got to come up here and train with guys here at the top of their game. I'll give them that. We have some of the best firearms instructors I've ever seen. Our CT program is literally run by 3 jiu-jitsu black belts. I mean, it's the guys running the CQT program was a Marine recon. I mean, and it was vetted through every agency we could go to and every division or military unit we could go hang out with and talk to. That program was designed via that. So we had some really, really amazing hitters up here. So when I had the opportunity, I wanted to come up and sharpen the sword, I guess you could say, and try to hone my capabilities as best I could.
Yeah. So let's get into that. So let's just say, Joe Smith puts his packet in, gets selected. Does I go through FLETC first, right? Before I get to, or do I go straight to your academy? I
Yeah,
can't remember.
I know us, and I know Secret Service does it too. I'm not sure about other agencies, but you'll basically go through an introductory course um, with, I know Secret Service did it, and they do here. They come here for like a week, do their fitness assessment, and go through like an indoctrination, I guess you could say. Um, get the right act read to them on what we expect of them before they go to FLETC for, I believe it's a 9-week program down there.
Okay,
And then
so
they
yeah, it's like an in-doc course at your training academy. They'll kind of get the basic federal law enforcement course, and they're going to come back to the schoolhouse.
correct.
Okay, great.
Correct. And then they're back here for 9 weeks of air marshal specific. So it's, the legal aspects of special aircraft jurisdiction, and then obviously aircraft tactics are unique to what we do.
Yeah, and then so what does that physical fitness assessment look like?
One that's used currently is the traditional quarterly fitness assessment that almost every federal agency uses. It's just, max effort pull-ups, max effort push-ups in a minute, max effort sit-ups in a minute, and then a 1.5 mile run.
Okay.
That's currently
It-
like the
The
standard.
standard, yeah, pretty much general test that goes across it all.
Yes.
Okay, so what does what does like a normal day look like for those folks, and then what is that kind of that? Give me the macro level on like what all they're going to get trained on before they're out in the field.
For the students, it could be anywhere from, 4 hours of legal, and then explosive training in the afternoon, and then finish up with a PT. Or it could be, 4 hours of aircraft tactics, followed by, 2 hours of ground fighting, followed by, another 2 hours of surveillance.
Gotcha. Um, and then for you guys, obviously it's a very jujitsu heavy protocol on the what do you call them, CQ, the close quarters tactics, is that what it is?
Control tactics is the
Control
hand-to-hand stuff, and then CQT is close quarter tactics. That's our principles and procedure base of pretty much room. It is room clearing, but it's not room clearing like on a SWAT type level. It's more principles and procedures and concepts that are going to be utilized for the aircraft. The aircraft is just a really long, funny looking room. So we teach them how to dominate space, visual firepower in a room that's easy with nothing in it, and then build up their ability to process what's in the room, establish priorities of work, make decisions based off of those priorities of work, and then complete the mission taskings.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I'm sure everybody is aware, but I think it's worth saying that FAMs are kind of known across the world as having the best shooters, right? The best shooting training, anyways, because you have
Yeah,
to.
everybody's got there's a bell curve for everything.
Yeah.
Our bell curve is just set higher. Yeah, the running joke I have with my Secret Service friends is, when we talk trash to each other is, what does what do you guys call our worst shooter? And it's instructor, sir. So our qualification score is usually what they have to shoot to qualify as an instructor. So we have some fun banter when I get to talk to my Secret Service buddies.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, so what I kind of want to transition now to is, you learning about MetFix, attending the foundations course, and just kind of like some general how we can best prepare law enforcement officers, right? So, you've got 20 plus years, um, and we didn't even get into throughout the last 20 years too. Are you level 3, level 4 CrossFit trainer?
I got my level 4 2 years ago, November.
Yeah. That's incredible, man. Good. Congratulations on that.
That was
Uh,
one of the hardest things I've ever. Yeah, that was tough.
yeah.
That was
Yeah.
tough.
I can imagine that, that's saying a lot considering
Yeah.
your background. Yeah. Um, so let's talk about why you wanted to incorporate MetFix down at the FAM schoolhouse.
Um, First and foremost, like I've lived, and full disclosure, I'm a full-time instructor and have been with the Air Marshal Service since I came on. Um, but I've lived the lifestyle of law enforcement in general, to include, all the travel and sleep patterns, all that stuff from local law enforcement to, with Secret Service, we flew so much it wasn't even funny. But the benefit of that was when I landed, or the unfortunate part of that is when I landed, I went to work. Like the difference between that and the Air Marshal Service is that is their work. When they land, they're off work. So for me, it was, pre 9/11. Honestly, it was the only time I could sleep, to rest. But then obviously post 9/11 changed all that. Um, but the lifestyle is uh, is difficult at best.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for horrible sleep patterns. The stress is through the roof. You go from, drinking a coffee at the local 7-Eleven to 20 seconds later a potential shooting, that you may have to use deadly force on, and then
Mhm.
the seesaw continues all night, every night. Especially depending on what city you're in, and especially with today's climate. I don't know how they do it today.
Yeah.
Bless them for doing it.
Yeah.
Um, so you have the stress, you have the sleep deprivation. You're not bringing. You could, but it's rarely that I would ever see anyone truly dedicated and disciplined to bring their food in a cooler every night that's going to
Right.
last for 12 hours.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you end up eating food that's readily available, that's fast, and
Yeah.
and full disclosure, probably. Oops, sorry.
You're good.
Probably who gives the biggest discount. So
Yep.
uh, so the lifestyle is horrible, and then on top of that, the physical part of it is you're sitting down most of the time, so you're in a constant state of hip flexion, and those hip flexors get tight, then your lower back starts hurting, and then on top of that, you've got 40 pounds of crap hanging off of you. So
Yep.
who more than them need it?
Right. Yeah. And this is, we're in the process of developing some online courses and some 1-day courses for law enforcement officials. And Scott's been kind enough to kind of help us on that initiative. And, regardless of agency or whatever unit you're going to be a part of, like that's the general problem in general. Yeah. Uh, that's what the men and women are suffering. So it's not a matter of removing stress. You're going to have to deal with the stress. And what we try to get folks to understand is don't make a bad situation worse.
True,
And
exactly.
how you can make that worse is, high carbohydrate diet, high sugar diet. You're already in this kind of chronic stress system. Cortisol levels are high. Your blood glucose is going to be high because of that. So let's not continue to add more gasoline to the fire in the form of bad nutrition. And this is what a lot of guys don't understand. And this is kind of what our current priority is, to get them to understand that.
Sure, yeah, and the bigger, the bigger that hedge is against that. I mean, you're voluntarily stepping into a dangerous lifestyle that has a horrible, it just sets you up. So anything you can do to mitigate that in your best interest is where we're kind of going with that. Even if you have just the information to make the decisions, is better than not knowing. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we're
First, yeah, that's it. First step is awareness. Before you can initiate behavior change, you have to at least have the information education on why you'd even want to change your behavior in the first place. So it's tough. Those guys are stressed. Into the shift, like you said, on their food choices. Honestly, they're just going to make whatever's convenient. And when you're operating on a stress level like that, you're going to kind of want to go to comfort food anyways. Um,
absolutely.
and they know junk food's bad, right? I think everybody understands like junk food is bad. But when we can kind of go in there and explain more in depth on why it's bad, it will lead to that behavior change that we're going after.
Yeah, especially these guys I work with up here, especially if they're doing a 14-hour flight after getting there, early to set up and prepare, and you land in some foreign country 14 hours away when you've had to stay alert the entire time, unlike the rest of us that can sleep. They've had to stay alert the entire time. They land. The last thing they want to do is go to the gym, and get their blood flowing and get the body moving. And then they definitely don't want to hear about, hey man, yeah, those fish and chips that you're getting ready to go get in London, probably not the best, route to go. Because you're
Yeah.
just going to make you hungrier, and you get to go down the whole litany of negativity that's going to come from that.
Yep. Yep. For sure, man. So what is the current, what are the guys, like how much time are those guys on the training side? Do they get even the opportunity to learn about food and nutrition?
Um, Food and nutrition, I would argue zero.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm fighting the good fight to try to
Yeah.
get some of that pushed into, but unfortunately, in federal law enforcement training environments, a lot of it comes down to up to the management of
Yeah.
whether they want to, set that fire to, curriculum review and all that. That's that administrative function that comes with it. On the side, I can spread the gospel as much as I possibly can. One of the reasons, because as of this moment, I am in no way affiliated with the PT program here, nor the nutrition.
Yeah.
I have plenty. I have the information ready to go. Um, so that was one of the main reasons I was like, well, I can start a nonprofit affiliate, and I can start an Instagram, and I can put the word out to anyone that wants to, that wants to check it out, and we will spread that Instagram, to as many people as we can and let them get a head start on it. I
Yeah.
can have them meet me over in the gym, or hey, if we happen to meet in the gym when I'm working out after after hours, and you want to learn how to do an air squat properly, like, hey man, I'm here to help.
Yeah.
So you just kind of in run it right now until you get something more formal.
Yeah, and this is a great learning point, not just for law enforcement agencies in general, but when you're looking at, kind of standing up your own MetFix program wherever, outside of your gym, with a corporate client or any kind of institution, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not a 24-hour thing. What you got to be able to do, and I hate the term influencer, but you got to be able to go in there and get with the key personnel, and kind of make your case. And it needs to be a consistent drip over time. Because no one, it has to have leadership buy-in on an agency kind of organizational level for it to have mass adoption. Without the appropriate leadership, it can make it happen. It's just going to be faster adoption with them.
Yeah, 100%. And there's also, and with everywhere I've been, there's also a finesse uh, that has to be delivered. There's managers out there, and I'm sure people will laugh when I say this, that need it to be their idea.
Sure.
So there's ways to bring it to their attention. Most managers, with some exceptions that I've encountered, um, their guys should make them look good. Like the manager doesn't need to be all knowing and
Yep.
the expert on everything. He needs to
Yep.
surround himself with those lions and have the trust to let them run.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
sometimes that's easier than others.
Yeah. I worked almost a decade in the Department of Energy after I got out of the military. And quickly, if you want to be effective, you have to learn the concept of leading up the chain of command.
True.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean,
That's
and
an art.
that is a very delicate art. And what that means is if you are waiting on your boss to make every single right decision and give you clear direction and guidance on everything you're going to do, you're going to be left behind. And you got to do exactly what you said. You got to feed that information up the chain of command. You have to make it appear as if it is their decision, and then be surprised when it is. Like, oh, that's a great. I've never heard about that. That's a great idea. I think this would work well here.
And that is an art. I can't tell how many times I've ever been to a place and said, "Hey, we're gonna do this." Oh, well, you can't use that word, or you can't say that
Yep.
methodology. So
Yep.
it's like, okay, I won't do that. Do you want me to just run a run-based program? Well, no. They need to do other things. Okay, well, you may just have them lift weight. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Do you just want me to lift weights with them? No, because they need that cardio. Okay, well, what about calisthenics? You want me to do some body weight stuff or just, no, I said, okay, well, how about we just like a mix of all these, and then I kind of throw in some different implements in there, and then we mix the time up. So we have some short ones, some fast ones, some medium ones, some long ones. We'll how about that? Yeah, that sounds great. Like, okay, we won't do that thing you don't want me to do.
Yeah. We won't do that word by any
No,
means.
we
We
won't
will
do
not
it.
do that word, but we will do
Not a,
that. Yeah.
right. And that's a great idea. We like that. Okay. You got it. You got it. I'm kind of
Yeah.
stealing from some of Glassman's old videos, but that invincible ignorance is a
Yeah.
thing. And you just need to be more knowledgeable about the subject than the person who's making the decisions
Yeah.
sometimes, and just understand how to massage it differently.
Yep. And this is why, like, we, especially on the MetFix nutrition side of the house, we try to steer clear as possible of using any sort of diet word, right? Because once you label something, you're automatically going to eliminate anyone else who has, any sort of built-in negative connotations around that name or that label. So it's like, hey, I don't think low carb works. I think we need carbohydrates, we need sugar. Okay, like, hey man, cool. Do you think we should eat junk food? Well, no. No one thinks we should. So all I'm saying is this is an anti-junk food diet. We cool with that? We can agree on it. Find out what you can agree on, and then start moving from there. Because once you put names and labels on stuff, you've already kind of lost the battle there.
Yeah, our biggest what I've run into is I've seen like lectures on nutrition that just talk about what the macronutrients are, and then the rest of the quote unquote nutrition block is on caloric deficit and how to lose weight. And I was like, that's not necessarily nutrition. Loss of body fat is a byproduct of good nutrition, but
Mm-hmm.
why are we talking about caloric deficit and doing the 2220 minus your age and all this stuff? It's like, can we just agree to not eat processed foods, stay away from sugar and seed oils? Like, I can show you why that's objectively sound,
Yeah.
and there shouldn't be a whole lot of controversy over that.
Nope. You're right, man. You're right. It's all, it's leading up the chain, and then it's finding the right words to use to ultimately get what you want. And there's a great saying. It's like, you can be right or wrong, but I'd rather be effective.
Right, absolutely. I mean, that's profound. I'm going to steal that. um, I'm getting a little less artful with that the older I get.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The closer I get to retirement, I kind of joke and like, in order to have power over me, you have to have leverage. And you're running out of leverage at this point. I'm still passionate about it, but it's like, um, just me personally, like I've always sought out feedback,
Yeah.
whether it's negative, whether it's, I mean, coming up through with my affiliate, like one of my partners was on staff and he was savage. Like, he was one of my best friends, but he would give me feedback, and afterward it's like, dude, are we still friends? Like, he's like, yeah, just un-F yourself and I need you doing this. I'm like, you got it, man. Just freaking tell me what to do, spin me up and I'll go. But like, I would hire Bobby Millsaps to come by my affiliate and observe me coaching and give me feedback. I was always, the level 4 is miserable. If you don't know if you think you know what you're doing, go take that.
Yep.
You will find out quickly. And it made me go. So I had to fail that to go back and learn and go back through. I mean, I'd been a coach for almost 14 years. I'd been an L3 for like 6 on my own affiliate. I thought it was just more of a formality. It was not.
Yeah. It wasn't
So,
a rubber stamp. Yeah.
not at all. But that gave me something to have pride in. I failed it. I went back to the drawing board. I looked at stuff. I was like, I did it wrong, so I trained up on what was right, came back and, had some really good dudes. Chuck Carswell and Joe DeGain were my evaluators, and dude, that was one of the best experiences afterward of my life. That
Yeah.
success has to come from failure and exposure to feedback, and most people don't like that.
Yep. And those, shout out to those two guys. Those are two of the, best, the finest gentlemen you'll ever come across. So that, we're getting, I want to be cognizant of your time and mine. Got about 10 minutes left here.
Sure.
Let's talk foundations course. I think you've been to 2 already. You've been to 2.
2, and then this one you guys did here.
Yeah,
And
yeah, 2. So we'll call it 2.5.
I'm starting to get it figured out.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, and I know the answer here, but I want to kind of bring it up for everybody, and kind of more important for folks who haven't had the opportunity to go yet. But what was some of your favorite takeaways from that course?
My favorite takeaway was it closed the loop. It tells the why we do what we do.
Yep.
It tells, and again, it keeps it objective. There's subjectivity everywhere, but for me, that's what I was looking for, was something to objectively be able to get behind and argue with anyone. I mean, the debate for that, because I hear it all the time. I'm that guy up here, so everyone wants to debate with about things. So for me, it really closed the loop, and it really gave the reasonings for a lot of these outlying things as far as nutrition. Well, because it's always thrown up, if you're pushing low carb, high fat, it's like, well, the what about the Japanese? They eat rice all the time. It's like, well, yeah, that's glucose. It's not fructose. It's processed completely differently in the body than the crap you're talking about. Well, what about the Twinkie diet? Well, yeah, the dude starved himself. He was literally fasting. So I mean, it gave me the more ammunition to take the fight where it needs to go, I guess, was
Yeah.
my biggest takeaway. The other one was, when Chris wrote up the list there at the end, that basically went through variants of the workouts we do and linked it to the cellular level and cellular oxidation. That's what was the Seinfeld moment for me, was like, okay, not only are we varying workouts to get certain physiological changes, like this is at the cellular level, and this is what it's doing and why. To me, that was the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, yeah, and kind of expound upon that more is like, we all know the metabolic pathways that we're working in. The phosphagen, the glycolytic, and the oxidative, from an exercise standpoint, right?
Yes.
But we make the connection on the fuel intake side of it, and how each of those and how protein, fat, carbs can fuel each of those, and even
Yes.
on the phosphagen creatine pathway as well. And it's a good kind of eye-opening moment to be like, oh, okay, these are how these things not only overlap but integrate with one another on the cellular level. And if you can explain it to a meathead like you and I,
Right.
might take 2.5 times, but it's we got some thick concrete skulls that it sets in at.
Yeah, that was the first one was I kind of know what I'm talking about. Let's go see what these guys are pushing out. And then it was, holy crap, like here I am back at square one. But the excitement of learning something new, I think I joked with you and said, it's kind of like walking in to a music store and hearing Stairway to Heaven and going, wait a minute, these guys have a whole crap ton of albums out there. Like, let me get all the albums and start listening to all this stuff. So, I mean, I've been I've been flying the flag of Glassman's teachings for years. So as soon as I saw him coming out with, or being involved with it, it was like, this was meant to be. But to look back at the videos and like the 5 buckets of death, he was talking about that in 2019.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny. A guy just sent me, because I have done a lot of work in the rehab and recovery community, and so today, somebody sent me a YouTube clip of Greg talking about that in like 2008.
Right.
on how, I think his exact quote was, yeah, I've had half a dozen people kind of approach me in the rehab space about using CrossFit for recovery because they've seen the work that it's done. And I'm like, well, of course he said that back in 2008, you know what I mean? Because it's, it works. And now we're getting to the point we understand the what, we understand the how, but the next layer here is the why behind
Sure.
everything. And it takes you a while to get there. And that's where we're really wanting to focus on. And the other thing too is, for all of our affiliates out there, is these guys are doing a really great job of teaching, training, coaching the traditional client avatar, right? So that, let's say at late 20s to late 40s, former athlete or somebody that has some sort of fitness background that comes in that just kind of wants to get a little better and get back in shape. And, what they're doing in their gyms works, obviously, but what about that person who may not have that background? What about that law enforcement officer who's chronically overstressed every day and, has some of the highest chronic disease rates there are as far as the profession goes? How can we take what we're doing and be able to package that and explain it a little better so they can do better at their jobs? And that's really what the course is about. And that's really what our affiliation is about, is getting guys like you who are doing a fantastic job in those communities, picking your brain as much as possible and then turning those into courses that are on our site for our affiliates to dig into and dive into and extrapolate out and do that in their home turf. And that's why we're really excited about this initiative, and we're really pumped to have guys like you a part of it, man.
Well, cool. Like I said, I'll be happy sweeping the floors. What you guys are doing is phenomenal, and we appreciate all the work. And I mean, it's never ending.
No, and that's it. And the other thing I was going to say, we're just getting started.
Yes.
Right. We're just getting started, and we're not moving as fast as I'd like us to. But that's just a part of getting this thing together. And I'm really excited about you, about what you're doing, about the law enforcement initiative that we're going to have as well. This week, actually, we were just up here at a Ohio Department of Public Safety Recruitment and Wellness Conference. So we were able to get 90 minutes there and talk to the folks there about the importance of moving well and eating right to enhance operational longevity for their officers. Because it really got into a fascinating discussion when we were there. Because recruitment across the board, whether state, local, federal law enforcement, is at an all-time low. They're saying it's very hard to get recruit officers into the job, and you can figure that out why. But the other part of it, we were kind of helping them make this connection. Is like, yeah, it's hard to recruit somebody when what do you have to show in 10, 15 years down the road, and you're 50 pounds overweight, and you've got type 2 diabetes, and you've got a bad back.
Yes.
So if we can not, we need to recruit the right people, but then we also need to show them and take care of those officers starting at the academy level, so they can be able to lead a healthy life, B, not be able to be on sick call or take early medical retirement, and 3, enhance their operational longevity. So if you got a guy that's lucky enough to have a 20-25 year career, you won't have to be increasing the churn and having to be recruiting every year. So that's where we're at, and that's what we're pumped about doing, and in addition to all the other stuff that we have going on. But man, I'm just pumped to call you a friend, brother. You're going to be in Jacksonville, right?
Yes, of course.
Perfect. Awesome.
Maybe fourth time's the charm. Maybe I'll get it figured out.
No, so you're going to be at the Friday event as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. So we'll see you there, and that's an open invitation to everybody listening. Like I said, started off with the show Friday, October 24th, Jacksonville, Go Rug headquarters. come get a ruck in with us, come learn about MetFix, come to talk to guys like Scott. And then we're just going to hang out afterwards. Go Ruck's been so generous and gracious with this. They're opening up their house, and they've moved into a new building, so they're pumped to show that off as well. So, Scott, you got any last words before we close this out, brother?
No, I appreciate what you guys are doing. If I can be any help to anybody as far as how to kind of push some ideas through and how to deal with that academic process and things, I've been there, done that, and hopefully if I can help in any way, I'll be happy to.
Brother, thank you. Like I said, man, I'm just pumped to call you a friend, and I'm happy you're a part of this, man.
Thanks. Of course, I look a little younger than you do today, so it's all good.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Dale.
All right, buddy. Be good.